Bam! What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of the Streamline Podcast. I'm your boy, Narik Chase, and in this video, we are going to be talking about the highly anticipated, unannounced Final Fantasy XVI video game, which we don't know if it's going to come or not because it hasn't been really announced yet. But if somehow it was announced and I didn't catch it, oh well, I was just looking up. I ain't seen nothing on it. But anyways, just got through playing Final Fantasy 15. And of course, like I did for the remake of Final Fantasy 7, I have a whole bunch of ideas that I would love to throw out there for the next installment of the Final Fantasy game series. Now, for those who have followed the series, the latest entries, there have been a lot of hit and misses lately. The newest one being Final Fantasy 15, I believe, not including the mobile games. No, I think the newest one. No, the newest one is Dissidia NT, but I don't know. I ain't played that one yet, so I ain't gonna say nothing about that. But I'm gonna talk about 15. So shut up. Anyways, I did come up with a list of things I would love to see in the new game, and definitely with the direction that they took 15, I really did like it, but there was a lot of things they got wrong, and I can admit that I like 15 so much I put it on my favorite game list. So, but admittedly, it was a lot of problems behind this game. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw out some tips out there that can hopefully correct the problem for the next Final Fantasy game, and hopefully it doesn't come out for the next generation of consoles, because I don't got money like that, and it already took me forever to get Final Fantasy 15. But anyways, let's go ahead and get this going. One thing I want to see is more complex story and plot devices. I love the complex stories that the previous titles have had. I loved the direction of Final Fantasy VII. I liked the dark direction of 9, 6, 10. Those had some really good complex stories. Now, I'm only naming the ones that I played, so shut up. But anyways, they had some really good complex stories that I think had a lot of great undertones, a lot of interesting twists, a lot of great side stories to help support the main story, a lot of interesting turns, especially when it comes to the characters and their stories and backstories and how their stories affect the main story. So I want to see a game that has just a lot of great complexity to it. One thing I didn't like about 15 was the story. The story felt like it wasn't finished in a lot of aspects. Yes, they had a movie to go with the oh my god. Sorry, so I don't know why. I don't know why I'm doing the videos. But anyways, had a movie that went with the game that did not feel as if they were completely synced together. Yes, there was a little anime short that they had with the game that, you know, did do a better job, but in terms of the gameplay, in terms of the game story, there is a lot that was just was not done right. Luna Freya's role in this entirety, she didn't really have a role. Any of the backstory on almost all of the characters was not explored. A bit more backstory on EOS, whatever the name of the land is, the setting itself, as well as a bit more on Niflheim, the bad guy Ardeen. You know, the story just did not feel well written, especially like the parts where they would skip. They had time jumps, and then when time jumps happen, something happened without, you know, any explanation. Think about the destruction of Noctis's home. Was no exposition on given on that whatsoever, or what was going on in surrounding areas, such as Luna Freya's home, the island, which you did get to see a bit of that one island city, but Niflheim itself, you know, there was just a lot to the story that could have been done a hell of a lot better, especially concerning the different areas and the different characters and everything that was going on. So we do need a good, strong story. One thing I think I need to focus on too is better RPG elements. Look, I understand that they're moving on to this whole action-packed fun thrill ride for the future gamers and everything, most of the youth and all that. But I don't think it needs to be taken away from the RPG elements. Because think about it, I like Final Fantasy 15. But I think this one's kind of the one that kind of sticks out. Yes, it has RPG elements, but it doesn't feel like an RPG game. Yes, you do level up, but it doesn't feel like, outside of the weapons that you equip, that anything else actually matters when it comes to the RPG elements. So I think that they do need to focus a little bit more on the RPG elements. Certain outfits you wear will affect your stats. Certain weapons that you do will affect your stats. Certain equipment, yes, you know, some of that does affect, but I think they need to do a little bit more, especially concerning the weaponry, not just being able to use elemency. Yes, they had the little node things, but honestly, I didn't really care. In fact, I think that node list was less as impressive than it was in 10 and 13. So the RPG elements, we do need to get that fine-tuned and make that a little bit more pronounced. That would actually help make the grinding and the gameplay itself of combat a bit more engaging. And that's what we really do want. I want, and there is this thing, because I got some of these from another YouTuber. I can't remember the guy's name. But he had a list, and I'm going over some of the stuff, as well as some of the stuff that I thought of and seen on the internet as well. A darker, grittier Final Fantasy, or a happier upbeat. I think I want an overall dark one, but I want there to be these moments of levity where it's happier, where it's upbeat. Think about Final Fantasy VII, for instance. You had these moments where it was just completely dark. Everything's just shit. You know what I'm saying? The world is ending. But then you had great moments such as chocobos, races, and stuff like that. The golden saucer, you know what I mean? The snow thing, you know. There's just great moments like that. Where, going back towards Cloud's hometown, Cloud and Temple's hometown, you know. The little thing with Cloud dressing up like a woman to get into. I mean, it's dark, but, you know what I'm saying? Give us a bit of levity here and there. Final Fantasy IX had Eco, you know what I mean? She brought a lot of great innocence to the group, and I really admire that about a character. You know what I mean? There's just a lot that they could do with this. Yes, we don't need an upbeat all the time happy, because Final Fantasy IX starts out with just upbeat. It's got this really like cartoonish feel to it. It's like kid-like quality to it, but it does get darker as the gameplay goes on, while maintaining happy upbeat moments here and there. So we do need that. The balance between open world and being linear is it depends. Look, after 15, I said there's no reason Final Fantasy games should be linear. They all need to be open world from now on. Like, I enjoyed the hell out of that, especially when I seen the open world aspects of it from Final Fantasy 13, excuse me. Like, that open world segment, great. 15 made it even bigger, better. I loved it. But I do want the next Final Fantasy game be open world, exceptionally open world. But I do recognize that there are moments where there need to be linear segments. One of the problems I had with 15 as well as 13 are, like, 13 was completely linear up until you get to the part where you got the open world, and then on 15 you have open world, then you get to this part where it's just completely linear, and I think that's a problem. I can understand certain segments be linear, but there's no reason that this 16 should not be open world. It should be open world, but I can understand certain segments should be linear. So there's a fine line that should be balanced on that as well. Definitely need side missions, a hell of them, and a wide variety of them. Look, if you want to have missions where you go rescue people, protect somebody, retrieve something, discover something, hunt something down, I'm all for those, but we need variety. I love the missions, and in terms of side missions, I think Final Fantasy 15 has got all the other games beat to me, at least the ones that I played. Tons of missions, side missions. I really enjoyed the hunts, and I think 16 definitely needs to have those like hunting missions and stuff like that too. But we need but unlike that, they don't have like really good rewards. Yes, they give you money. Yes, they give you experience. But if you take down a level 50 boss like creature and you're like level like 40 something, you spent like an hour trying to kill this thing, you know, you should get something really cool. I don't know, earn an outfit, get some rare weaponry or some gear or something. Get you some very rare items that you can actually utilize in combat or something. I don't know. But we do need better rewards with better side missions as well. Because look, I like side missions. They do a great job of alleviating the repetitiveness of the story. Oh, I say repetitive story because side missions can be repetitive, but it does a great job of explaining the world. And I think that's where we should go about going with this. There is the action-based combat versus the turn-based, and I think that they should blend it. I complained about Final Fantasy XIII's combat system before. I played it, end up loving it. Thought it was exceptionally great, exceptionally well done. I really did like Final Fantasy XV's combat system as well, and I can honestly see either both of those, either one of those being the combat system for 16 or a combination of that. I really think that they should try their best to blend both, because I know some people, a lot of people like the action based because it's more fast paced, but a lot of people like it to take a step back, be a little bit more turn based, to that way giving it a bit more appeal to those from the original source material, which was turn based. And me personally, I'm with either one of the systems. Look, I love the turn based combat, and I like the whole Final Fantasy 13 combat system. If you check out my video, I was talking about which one of the Final Fantasy games had the best combat system. I actually liked them all, just depended on the game that it was made in. So 16 is going to go about open world. I can see it more going towards the whole Final Fantasy 13, the whole Final Fantasy 15 type combat style, but I would like to, and this is another thing I would like to see in the combat. Look, I understand they're trying to do this thing where the AI bots control the people and all that, but I also would like to be able to control my characters, switch between my characters, especially if I'm leveling them up and giving them stuff. I would like to see the fruits of my labor, you know what I'm saying? If I have a powerhouse character, sometimes I would like to play with that powerhouse character. If I have a dragoon character, I would like to play with that dragoon character. It just depends on the fight and everything. So I'm as far as the whole turn-based versus action sequence, I'm open-minded about it, because it seems like they're trying new things, and some things work, some things don't, but they're trying. And as far as the whole one character versus four or versus team, I would actually like to see the team have the team be able to control the team, because it does change up the gameplay a bit, and I wouldn't mind having that. Also, we need a class-based system. Final Fantasy 15, their system really didn't. If they had a class system with their characters, it really didn't matter. Yes, they had, certain class-like characteristics. Gladios was like the broadsword and the muscle, and then you had one person that was a gunner, which was Prompto, and then you had Ignis, was kind of the dragoon, but that other chick, the awesome chick, I can't remember her name now, Arania, she was a dragoon, and then Noctis is, I don't know what the hell Noctis is, he's every freaking thing. But it's like, it wasn't really important about the only person that was really relevant was probably Gladios. Him being with the broadsword and everything. So I would like to see a class system come back and not have Noctis be the one that controls all of the stuff. Yes, they could use magic if you gave them the magic and stuff, but I like the class system. I like the choices of it and how diverse that choice can be in Final Fantasy VII. I like how restrictive it was in 9, because it made every character relevant for a different situation, as well as what they did in 10, as well as kind of what they kind of did in 13, but we'll just go ahead and throw 13 over there with what 7 did, where you can choose which one each one works, so it makes everything a bit more strategic. So I want them to do that with the class-based system, bring that back. Stories that should be either that should have story elements that are friendship centered and romantic centered. I think they should have both. Personally, though, I don't want to see Final Fantasy where the main character, it has the romance, because we've seen that with 15, but even though 15 didn't really do it right, honestly, we've seen it with 9 between Zidane and Garnet. We've seen it between Titus and Yuna in Final Fantasy X. So I want to see maybe one of the other side characters is dealing with a relationship. And personally, that's what I want to see. I want to see a character, 2 characters. One character dealing with issues with his family, having to try to protect them by fighting. Kind of like how Barrett had his daughter in Final Fantasy VII, but he was out fighting, so he had to leave his daughter behind, because he was, in essence, trying to protect her from a bigger threat. So I wouldn't mind seeing that type of dramatic effect. And I also wouldn't mind seeing a romance, just not a romance of, you know, the main character and some other girl. I want to see, like, maybe a side, one of your companions have to deal with that romance story, but make it prominent and interesting. But I would like to see that come back. And yes, I do agree with they were saying on the YouTube video that not all characters have to have romance, because it's not going to actually fit. Also, we need more pronounced characters. I don't know what the hell it is with these new Final Fantasy games. They act like they cannot put like 100 characters into this game and make, not even 100, say maybe 30 or 40 characters into the game. Maybe 10 of them are important. The rest of them are just side characters. 13 suffered from that. All of these 10 suffered from it a little bit. Although they did have a decent amount. 13 suffered from it. When I was trying to make a top 10 list, it was hard without naming the 15 people that's actually in the story, because it's all it is, like 15 main characters. So that game suffered from it. 15. Final Fantasy 15 has some interesting characters of it, but for it to be a big game is what it is, especially with the scope of the story, there should have been a hell of a lot more important characters. So we do need more important characters, and that's why it's important to actually have good backstories for the main characters, because they will introduce new side characters that could be just as important, that could be just as entertaining, could be just as engaging, and that's what we want. So give us more characters. I'm on the fence about co-op, because my problem with co-op is the whole internet. You have to be connected to the internet thing. Look, I don't mind if they had some type of combat mode where you can use co-op, but as far as the main story concerned, they can kiss my butt with that. If the main story don't need you don't need co-op, unless they do that thing where it's kind of like Gears of War, where people can drop in, drop out, and be on your team. But that goes back to what I was saying about you should have your characters be available to play, so people can pick up on that. And it also your team. So like Final Fantasy 15, you got 4 characters, you're controlling one, you got 3 open slots, bam. But I hope co-op is on the table, but I don't want it to be no massive online multiplayer. I can't stand them sons of bitches. Not that I got anything against them, but I don't like it when they take a game that's been established to be a great game the way it is and try to do the MMO thing, because I'm like, no, it doesn't work. If you're going to come up with an MMO, come up with a new idea as an MMO. Don't do The Legend of Zelda as no MMO. Don't do Halo as a MMO. You know what I mean? Don't do freaking Elder Scrolls as the MMO. Don't do Final Fantasy as a MMO. Come on, nah. But maybe it's just me because I don't like MMOs like that. I mean, I like a couple, but I don't like it like that. So, another thing I want to say, better side stories. Give us some great. We need some great side stories. We need our main story. We need at least 4 other major things going on that have ties to the main story. We need side stories that actually involve the main characters. And we also need side stories concerning what's going on in the world, as well as the supporting staff. Not supporting staff, supporting characters. Again, go back to Final Fantasy 15. There was a serious lack of actual story content that should have been explored, but wasn't. And whether that was because it wasn't developed, or it was taken out. It was a big issue, and it was like literally it was literally obvious. So that is a very big problem. Definitely need to have better stories, more engaging stories, especially, again, Noctis, Luz, and Freya. And again, they have absolutely no moments together. None. The only moment you get with them two, that's as far as their story is concerned, is a nod from each other when he's in the crowd and she's making a speech. That's it. And then, like I said, as far as Gladios, Prompto, and Ignis, no side stories about them. I don't care about the DLC. I mean, an actual side story. Where they came from. Who are their family? What are their roles is? Like, no actual stories. But we do need better stories. Side stories, if I'm going to be more frank about it. And finally, I'm going to go to something that I think they should definitely do, especially since they started to do it in the Final Fantasy 15, but they didn't. Character customization. Look, I don't want to create a character for no Final Fantasy game like that, and it would be pretty cool if they did. But I would like to see them do be able to allow characters to switch their costumes up, and then their costumes add and take away stats and stuff. I would like for the weaponry, you can actually change the way the weaponry looks. You can just change some of the designs of the characters, maybe not overhaul the characters completely, but maybe some designs here and there. Also, I would definitely like to see. That's just basically it. I just want to see some character customization going on, because I did not like hardly any of the costumes or outfits in Final Fantasy 15. But I'm glad that they did let us have the ability to change them. But that's neither here nor there. Those are just ideas that I just had out there. I just want to talk about. But anyways, guys, in the comment section below, let me know what your thoughts are on what you would like to see for Final Fantasy 16. Be sure to hit that like, share, subscribe, and the notification button to get the best of what's going on this channel. And remember, we do upload videos every Tuesday and Thursday, so stay tuned for those. And we'll definitely catch you guys later. Peace out.